For many Indians, getting an H-1B visa is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, a chance to work in the US, earn in dollars, and secure a better future. But you know what? Behind the success stories, there is also heartbreaking tales of exploitation, false promises, and shattered dreams. This is the story of an Indian couple who fell into H-1B trap, a lesson that every aspiring migrant must learn. Like thousands of skilled Indian workers, a software engineer, let's call him Rahul for example, because we cannot reveal the name, spent years trying to secure an H-1B visa. After multiple attempts, his dream finally came true. He got selected into the lottery and found a US employer willing to sponsor him. Excited about the opportunity, Rahul left his well-paying job in India and prepared to start a new life in America. But there was only one problem. He didn't know how to negotiate his salary. His employer kept delaying his salary discussion and giving very vague answers. A warning signal? Maybe, but Rahul didn't want to risk losing his visa. When Rahul finally received his visa approval, the company made its final offer. A salary of just $50,000 to $60,000 per year. Imagine, for a tech job in the US, this was shockingly low, specifically when considering high rent, medical insurance, and daily expenses. In India, he was earning well and he had financial stability as well. But now, after quitting his job and moving across the world, he felt trapped. Still, Rahul convinced himself that things would get better eventually. To make things easier, his employer made another offer. He would sponsor an H-1B for his wife too, and here let's call his wife Priya. Let me tell you, we are not allowed to use the original names. At first, it seems like a fair deal. Both of them would be working in the US, doubling their income. So Priya left her remote job in India and moved to the US on an H-4 visa, accepting that she'll soon get her own work visa. But then came the real betrayal. Once Priya arrived, Rahul's employer backed out of his promises. They stopped responding to emails and calls. No explanation, no apologies, just silence. Now Priya was stuck on an H-4 visa, which meant that she couldn't legally work. The family's hope of a dual income life were gone. They were suddenly surviving on Rahul's already low salary, which was barely enough to cover their rent, food, and insurance in the US. Let me tell you, Rahul's story isn't unique. Sadly, many Indian professionals are falling into the same trap. US companies know that H-1B workers have limited options. They can't easily switch jobs without visa sponsorship. Many come from middle-class Indian families and they are willing to accept lower salaries just to stay in the US. The process of finding a new employer and transferring an H-1B visa is really time-consuming, risky, and expensive. Because of this, some companies take advantage of desperate H-1Bs, offering really low pay, false promises, and minimal job security. Now, Rahul and Priya deeply regret not researching their employer properly. They ignored all the red flags, rushed into the offer, and believed in verbal promises. Rahul is stuck now. If he quits, he risks losing his visa. If he stays, they continue struggling financially. Either way, the American dream feels like an illusion. If you are an Indian planning to move to the US on an H-1B visa, learn from Rahul and Priya's mistakes. Always research your employer, look at reviews, talk to other employees, and check your credibility. Negotiate your salary, don't blindly accept any offer. Know your worth and understand US salary standards. Get everything in written. Verbal promises means nothing. If your employer promises sponsorship for your spouse, demand a formal agreement. Have a backup plan. Don't quit your Indian job until and unless you are 100% sure about your new job in the US. Understand US visa law very carefully. H-1B process is very tricky. Know your rights, limitations, and options before making a decision. Rahul and Priya's story is a wake-up call for every Indian dreaming of an H-1B visa. Yes, working in the US can be life-changing, but only if you're smart, prepared, and cautious. Otherwise, this dream can quickly turn into a nightmare.